Today we will begin our fifth lecture on Christian ethics. Today's topic is smoking. Smoking is a big problem in today's society. Many developed countries have no smoking policies in public facilities. Government agencies prohibit smoking in places like schools and hospitals. Trains, buses, and subways are also taking on no smoking policies. Developed countries prohibit smoking in streets or sports fields where many people gather. Korea also has no smoking policies in certain locations. Countries like Singapore heavily fine smokers who throw away their cigarette butts. Some countries categorize cigarettes as drugs. Such countries or societies hold negative views on cigarettes. This may be why many smokers are trying to quit smoking. Some large corporations, although a small portion, give negative points to smoking employees when considering promotions. These workers are seen to have little self-control and self-management, and they are assessed as unfit for being responsible for a company's important work. Countries, societies, and corporations are against smoking. Then what happens when we Christians smoke? There will be negative results when Christians smoke. Some people claim that the Bible does not forbid smoking, so why should we? Every country has a different history of cigarettes. When the Bible was written, cigarettes were not a universal commodity. However, when we see the teachings in the Bible, we Christians in today's society must not smoke. There are several reasons for this. First, we must not smoke for the glory of God. What is our true purpose in life? Paul teaches us a lesson. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. Whenever we eat or drink, we must do it for God's glory. Today, countries, societies, firms, and public offices are pessimistic about smoking, and they launch campaigns against smoking. If Christians smoke, it does not bring glory to God. Unbelievers are practicing non-smoking, and when believers smoke, we cloud the glory of God. Also, non-believers know that Christians do not smoke. It is obvious that we blur God's glory when Christians smoke. When the question of eating meat or not eating meat came up, the Apostle Paul said it was better to not eat meat if eating meat caused problems. We must not dispute about whether we are allowed to smoke or not, but must not smoke because of smoking's bad effects. We as believers must do things that make God happy and refrain from doing things that make God unhappy. God hates His glory being clouded. The third commandment in the 10 Commandments says we must not take God's name in vain. There is a second important reason why Christians must not smoke. The reason is that smoking harms our bodies. The government does not actively encourage non-smoking for religious reasons. The government targets not only believers but unbelievers in their campaign against smoking. Smoking brings about fatal results concerning health. A cigarette has about 4,000 kinds of chemical particles. Out of the chemicals, there are many poisonous particles that damage the human body. Harmful particles in cigarette smoke cause lung and respiratory diseases, cardiovascular diseases, and cancer. There are many diseases caused by smoking. Many of the diseases we catch have a close relationship with smoking. Smoking causes diseases. They say it takes about 7 seconds for inhaled cigarette smoke to travel to the brain. It takes a short time to enter, but it takes 3 whole days for the nicotine substances to exit the body. The harmful substances pile up within the body and give rise to disease. Respiratory disease is a common example of a disease caused by smoking. Smoking continuously for a period of time stimulates the respiratory tract to form infections. Because smoking causes coughing and phlegm to form, people are prone to coughing and spitting. Also, the walls of the respiratory tract contract and weaken respiratory functions. As lung capacity decreases, it becomes more difficult to breathe, particularly when exercising. People who have smoked for a long time have phlegm building up in the bottom of their lungs, and they make weird noises because of it. If the conditions stated above continue, a smoker may develop lung cancer. The chance of a smoker dying of lung cancer is 10 times higher than that of a non-smoker. About 30 to 40% of all cancer types are caused by smoking. If smoking ceased to exist, we would see a 30 to 40% fall in cancer cases. Smoke from cigarettes contains cancer-causing agents, and 1 out of 3 people who die from cancer is a smoker. 87% of all lung cancer cases are known to be caused by smoking. It is incredible to see that 8 out of 10 people who die from lung cancer are smokers. That is why they say a smoker is 10 times more likely to get lung cancer than a non-smoker. Smoking also causes oral cancer as well as larynx cancer. A smoker also feels more fatigue than a non-smoker does. They also experience more insomnia. They are likely to catch the cold, but are slow to heal from it. They oftentimes miss work. When it comes to a detailed project, companies do not prefer using smokers. Smoking causes gum disease and bad breath. Smokers age more quickly and lose sexual desire. Also, they are prone to indigestion. Due to their low lung capacity, smokers are unfit for exercise or hiking. Furthermore, their surroundings become unclean. Youth smoking is a huge problem. The following points list the problems of adolescent smoking. First, Smoking at an early age brings about addiction to smoking that is difficult to quit. Not only does youth smoking create the habit of smoking that is difficult to stop, but it increases the chances of smoking after quitting for a while. For youths who have a difficulty controlling their impulses, quitting smoking is not an easy task. Second, youth smoking is closely related to indecent behavior. Acts of crime, among other wrong behavior, can spring from smoking. The smoking rate of juvenile delinquents is much higher than that of normal adolescents. Unexcused absences, runaways from home, and violence happen after a youth starts smoking. Third, adolescents are in more danger of health damages than adults are. In the early phases, the harmful effects of smoking are small, but youth face the harmful consequences. Adolescents are undergoing growth in their cells, including their brain cells, but smoking prevents the growth of the body's organs. The central nerves that boost aging lose their functions as a result of smoking. Motor skills also lose functionality. Compared to adults, adolescents have lower detoxification capacities, which can lead to lung cancer and other adult diseases. Fourth, smoking adolescents are more likely to use drugs that are stronger than cigarettes. When comparing two groups, one that does not smoke and one that does smoke, the smoking group was 2 times more likely to use other drugs. To prevent drug abuse, we must have diverse, systematic education programs for smoking prevention. Now we will observe the effects of second-hand smoking. Second-hand smoking is the inhalation of smoke by non-smokers that has the same effect as smoking a cigarette. For example, when a husband smokes, his wife and children inhale the smoke in what is called second-hand smoking. These situations occur frequently in our social lives. When we go to work and our co-worker is smoking, we unwillingly inhale the smoke and suffer from its effects. There are two types of second-hand smoking. One is the inhalation of smoke that is exiting the smoker's lungs, and one is the smoke coming off of a burning cigarette. The smoke from a burning cigarette is unfiltered, so it releases poisonous substances that cause cancer. When cigarette smoke was measured indoors, 75% of the smoke was unfiltered smoke that contained 3 times the amount of nicotine, 3.5 times the amount of tar, and 5 times the amount of carbon monoxide of filtered smoke. Most of the smoke inhaled second-hand are diluted in the air, but out of the people who are sensitive to cigarette smoke, 69% experienced eye irritation, 32% experienced headaches, 20% experienced nasal irritation, and 25% experienced coughing. According to a study in the United States, 3,000 to 4,000 non-smokers die of lung cancer each year because of second-hand smoking. Second-hand smoking causes hepatitis in 200,000 people a year and asthma in 100,000 children each year. Therefore, we must never smoke when a child is nearby. We must not smoke in children's facilities as well as in our workplaces or public spaces. Our bodies are a temple of God. We must take good care of our bodies for God to use us and to keep our faith in Him. If we happen to smoke, we are open to scary diseases and we will see our health deteriorate. This does not please God. Also, Isaiah chapter 55 verse 2 says this: "Why spend money on what is not bread?" God does not want us to harm our bodies with something we do not need, nor does He want us to use money to sin. smoking makes other people uncomfortable. It also damages their health. Christians must help others and give them joy. Smoking does not give joy, but brings damages. Therefore, we must not smoke. Here we will conclude our 5th lecture on Christian ethics. Thank you.